World Geography, United States and Canada, Geographic Foundations. Here are the learning objectives. Number 1, identify the physical features of the United States and Canada. Number 2, describe the function of locks on the St. Lawrence Seaway. Number 3, identify the location of climate subregions and vegetation regions in the United States and Canada. Number 4, how does the rain shadow affect the climate of the American Southwest? Number 5, describe the formation of tornadoes and hurricanes. Number 6, identify areas of high and low population density on a map. Physical features: mountains, shields, plains. On the North American continent, mountains run along both sides, with a large flat area in the center. This flat area extends from the Arctic Ocean in the north to the Gulf of Mexico in the south. It's made up of what we call shield and plains. Shield is a large core of old rock that lies at the base of every continent, and plains are flat or gently rolling areas of land. Canadian Shield, Great Lakes. This Canadian Shield covers half of Canada, and during the Ice Age thousands of years ago, what happened is glaciers scraped across this region and they pushed the soil in front of them like a bulldozer, and they deposited this soil on the treeless Great Plains of the United States. Glaciers also gouged out deep valleys in this region, and these valleys later filled with water and became freshwater lakes, like the Great Lakes. The St. Lawrence River, it connects the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean. St. Lawrence Seaway. The St. Lawrence Seaway is an infrastructure project. It's a human-made built project, and it connects the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean via the St. Lawrence River. Basically, it's a bypass canal connecting two Great Lakes because you have to get around Niagara Falls. As you travel up the seaway, ships are raised and lowered by a series of locks. This is sections of the waterway with closed gates where the water levels can rise or fall through the use of machinery. Through the St. Lawrence Seaway, ocean-going vessels are able to sail all the way from the Atlantic Ocean through the Great Lakes, past Niagara Falls and into the other Great Lakes, and then get into the industrial and agricultural heartland of North America. Here's a diagram of locks. You can pause the video for a moment if you like and study this diagram. Canadian Alaskan features. In the far north are many smaller lakes and the Hudson Bay. There's also a scattering of islands. The largest island is Baffin Island. The shallow water Grand Banks. This is an important feeding area for fish, and it lies in the Atlantic Ocean at the mouth of the St. Lawrence River. In the west, in the Alaska Range, there's the highest peak in North America, and that's Mount McKinley. Appalachians and Rockies, Great Plains. Two major mountain ranges run through the United States. In the east, there's the Appalachian Mountains. The Appalachians are a gentle range of rounded peaks and deep valleys. In the west are the Rocky Mountains, and they jut up into jagged, snow-capped peaks, stretching all the way from Alaska to New Mexico. Between these two mountain ranges is the dry and treeless Great Plains. They extend for 2,500 miles north to south. A system of rivers drain the plains. All these rivers eventually flow into the Mississippi River, and then the Mississippi empties into the Gulf of Mexico. It'd be a good idea to pause the video at this moment and look at this map closely. You want to be able to identify these physical features: the Canadian Shield, Great Plains, the Great Lakes, the St. Lawrence River, Hudson Bay, Baffin Island, Mount McKinley, Appalachian Mountains, Rocky Mountains, Mississippi River, and the Gulf of Mexico. See if you can find those all on this map. Climate and vegetation. Northern latitudes. Far northern areas of North America encompass tundra and subarctic climate subregions. In these regions, there's almost no rain or snow, and beneath the ground is permafrost. This permafrost is a layer of soil that remains frozen throughout the year. In northern Canada, you're also going to find taiga, which is a vast coniferous evergreen forest. You'll find this forest in northern Russia as well. Canada and Alaska. Along the Canadian border with the continental United States, you're going to find the humid continental climate subregion. And then in western Canada, along the Pacific coast, is the marine west coast climate subregion. It's mild and it brings more rain than it does snow. Temperate grasslands are found in south central Canada, and in the west are evergreen forests. Continental United States. The southeast, influenced by the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, has this humid subtropical climate. Florida's extreme southern tip has tropical wet and dry climate. The rain shadow is responsible for the desert and the semi-arid climate of the Southwest. Continental United States. There's highlands climate in the Sierra Nevada and the Rocky Mountains. Along the southern Pacific coast is the Mediterranean climate subregion. A warm ocean current starting from around San Francisco and then northwards towards Alaska, and prevailing westerly winds, these are responsible for the marine west coast climate of the northern Pacific coast. Coastal mountains just a little bit inland also protect this area from the extreme cold of the northern latitudes. The Midwest and the Northeast experience a humid continental climate zone with 4 distinct seasons. Pause the video and look at this climate subregion map and try to identify the different climate subregions and their location in the United States and Canada. Tropical wet, that's in Hawaii. Tropical wet and dry, just a little tip of Florida, on the very southern tip of Florida. Desert is in the southwest, and semi-arid is too. Mediterranean along the southern California coast. Humid subtropical stretching from South Texas all the way around the Gulf of Mexico to Florida. Marine west coast, again stretching from around San Francisco all the way up the coast, west coast of Canada, the United States, and on up into Alaska as well. Humid continental, starting around the region where we live, all the way up into southern Canada, and then up towards the northeast. Subarctic, very high up in the far northern latitudes. Tundra, even further north. And highland, you're going to find this in areas where there are mountains, particularly where the Rocky Mountains are located. Vegetation regions. Coniferous, deciduous, and mixed forests exist along the Atlantic Ocean. Tropical grasslands are found in areas along the Gulf Coast and also in the Florida Everglades. Diminishing temperate grasslands are located on the Central Plains, the Great Plains. However, much of this area has been plowed under throughout the years to grow crops. Desert scrub exists in the deserts and canyons of the Southwest, and chaparral dots the California coastal ranges. Weather extremes. Tornadoes. The flat plains of the United States and large storm systems offer perfect conditions for the formation of tornadoes. Tornadoes form when cold, dry air from Canada rushes south and collides with warm, moist air moving north from the Gulf of Mexico. These are the perfect conditions for the formation of a tornado. Hurricanes. Under the right conditions, storms over the warm equatorial ocean waters of the African coast, they may slowly begin to rotate and move west across the Atlantic Ocean, drawing heat and energy from the ocean waters. If they gain enough strength, these storms become hurricanes. Hurricanes may strike areas surrounding the Gulf of Mexico or the southeast coast of the United States from June to November. Population. Population density. 325 million people live in Canada and the United States. This is only about 6% of the world's population. And only 33 million of these are Canadians. The rest are American citizens. Western deserts, they're too dry, and the far north, especially in Canada and Alaska, is too cold to support significant human settlements. Most Canadians, therefore, they live pretty close to the United States border. Throughout the region, people tend to cluster in or near cities because that's where the jobs and other opportunities are. Here's a population density map of the United States and Canada. You definitely want to be able to identify the areas where there's a high and low population density. So around cities on the northeast coast, New York, Philly, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., you find areas of high population density. Along the Great Lakes like Chicago and Detroit, Dallas, Houston. In the Southern California, San Francisco, these are areas of high population density. And then in the desert Southwest, you're going to find areas of low population density. And then in northern Canada and Alaska as well. Those are low population density areas. The end. Thank you for listening.